Hey everyone, LioConvoy here. As some of you know, I've had a long-standing issue with Crimson Mayhem, dating back to him bailing on reporting Toon Critic, to him lying about and trying to deplatform Misanthropony, to him ducking a conversation with me for 2 years. However, when Mr. Enter's video on Star Giant came out, and if you haven't seen it, I recommend you go watch it, Crimson finally decided to come talk to me. This call happened on March 15th of this year. Enjoy. This call is specifically going to be addressing Crimson Mayhem. A few things we're going to be going over here. If you guys have not seen the video Mr. Enter dropped today about Rebecca Starlight, I recommend going and doing so relatively soon, because a lot of the nonsense Rebecca has been doing has finally been brought to light, and anybody here is familiar with the problems I've had with Crimson Mayhem, and the fact that it's taken all this to get him into a call is concerning, and I will address it to him. I want to be very clear here. Let me see if Crimson's actually in the call right now. There he is. No, this wasn't. This was... I want to be very clear here. While I enter some information, the video, all that was him and his team. I did very little there, so if you're going to give thanks to anybody, get that to Enter, not me. But I'm going to make it very clear, I'm not going to scream at you, Crimson. I'm not going to yell at you. There might be times I take a harsh tone with you, but some things do need to be discussed. After Enter's video dropped today, Crimson came in, admitted that he knew about the fetish art and about Rebecca's server. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to invite Crimson on to have a conversation. Now, Enter, if you ever want to hop on and chat, feel free to. Just raise your hand to speak, and I'll bring you on. But I'm going to go ahead and bring Crimson on here real quick. How do I do this? Oh, I'm about to speak to.
Hello?
Hello, Crimson. Can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Good. All right, so we're going to get the more important thing out of the way. Well, not out of the way. We're going to address it, rather. How long have you known about Rebecca's server's issues?
I would say about a year ago. All I knew about it was the whole Necropon situation, and the only thing, and I thought, at the time, I thought it was just this one fuck-up that Rebecca made. Also, pardon my language, I apologize.
I'm 38, I'm not shy about other people cussing.
Okay. But yeah, I had zero clue about the whole, like, all the other stuff. I just thought, like, the whole Necropon thing was that one fuck up that she made. And everything else, like, regarding her server, this was all new to me. Let's see, what else was it? Yeah, the fetish art, also, yeah.
Were you aware about the fetish art containing underage characters?
She told me, like, personally, that she makes the excuse that, like, as if they're age up, it's okay, and it always, like, left a sour taste in my mouth, because it's not something anyone should jive with.
Okay.
Yeah.
You say it's not something anybody should jive with, but apparently you accepted it for some reason. So we're going to get into that for a bit here. You say you've been in that server for about a year now, correct?
I was in that server, but I had interacted nobody in it.
That's not what I asked you. So.
Oh, it's not? No, sorry.
You said you've been in there for about a year. I'm just reconfirming that.
Yeah.
In this message, you said, I knew about the crap regarding her server and the whole fetish aspect.
What
is that?
Regarding Necropan? Regarding Necropan, that's all I knew about on her server. I should have worded it better.
But it also says here, for the past year or so, I have tried my best to steer her in the best direction I could muster, because I wanted to be a decent friend.
Yeah.
So here's where I'm taking issue here. Okay. So you were formerly one of Mr. Enter's editors, yes?
Yes.
You knew about Rebecca's level of work, yes?
Yes.
You knew that Rebecca's video responding to Enter was a complete hot mess, yes or no?
Yes.
Did you consider Rebecca to be a truthful individual or a deceptive individual? I'll make that a little more simple. Do you think Rebecca tells the truth or that Rebecca lies?
She lies.
Okay.
A lot.
So, I want to see if you can explain to me. You see that somebody has lied consistently about somebody you worked for, that you know the work methods of, and you know what went on behind the scenes because you were literally there. You see Rebecca pulling all sorts of pathologically lying stunts. What about this made you think she's somebody you could steer anywhere? What made you decide to stay around them? And you can be honest with me. I'm not going to yell at you, Crimson.
No, I'm just overwhelmed. But
okay,
like,
take a minute. What's overwhelming you? Talk it out.
well, one, this isn't the first time we have not talked, but encountered.
You mean you and me?
Yes.
We'll get into that later. We're talking about the important things first.
Right, right. But that's aside the point. I guess I just wanted to like steer her in the best direction as possible, just like stop putting Enter like as your whole
Obsessive worldview.
center. Yes, yeah, obsessive worldview.
So,
and like,
here's the thing. Crimson, have you ever done any blacksmithing?
No.
But
no.
you know what blacksmithing is, though, right?
They make weapons and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Or just
right?
random metal goods. Like, you still go to a classic blacksmith if you want a decent horseshoe. So, you've never done blacksmithing.
No.
Would you ever try to give a blacksmith advice?
Probably not.
Okay. Why would you not try to give a blacksmith advice about his trade? It's a very simple answer.
Because I know nothing about it.
Exactly. So, do you have any history of being able to rehabilitate pathological liars or extremely troublesome people?
No, I was just trying to be a decent friend. But
okay,
from your logic, I understand what you mean.
Well, the point is, Crimson, what about Rebecca made you think she'd be a decent friend to begin with? You've seen how she treats people. So what's going on here?
Well, for one, I was left in a dark, in a lot of parts, so that's why I'm a little bit overwhelmed to begin with.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We're not talking specifically about what was revealed in Inter's video. We're leaving that completely out in the discussion of you wanted to be your friend, okay? What we're talking about is you saw her being a pathological liar. You saw her lying about a person you worked with that you know better about. So my question to you, Crimson, is what about Rebecca made you think for any moment that she'd be a decent person to be friends with? Here. You're getting a little overwhelmed right now, aren't you?
A little bit.
So here's what I'm going to do. All right. I'm going to tell you a little bit of a parable. All right. So I just want you to pay attention to this. Many years ago, a farmer was going down the river because he did fishing on his spare time in the middle of the winter. And on his trip down the river back to his house, he found on the side of the river a snake. The snake was freezing to death. It even had ice on it. So this farmer, very kind-hearted man, He got some blankets, he wrapped the snake up, and he took it home. He set it in front of the fireplace, warmed it up, fed it, made sure it was very, very well taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
Snake over time rehabilitated. You know, he got its health back and everything. And one day, the farmer walked by the snake and a snake bit him. The snake, and the farmer knew the snake was venomous. So the farmer, being far away from anybody else, was lying on the floor. He was dying. And he asked the snake, "How could you do this? After all I've done for you, how could you do this?" And the snake simply responded, "You knew what I was when you saved me." Now, why do you think I told you that story?
Fuck. Oh, man.
So, you say you're overwhelmed.
I am overwhelmed, but
Let's talk.
Sorry.
Let's talk you through being overwhelmed. All right. So let me put this in perspective for you. You're probably overwhelmed because you're sitting in a call with 116 people listening. Is that part of it?
Yeah.
Well, let me be clear here. When you were on Twitter, you had a much larger following, and you said a whole bunch of stuff out there. So just consider it like your Twitter following. All right. These people cannot directly talk to you unless I literally bring them on. They're not going to tag you in the side chat. They're not allowed to do that. And they're also not allowed to just sit there and insult you needlessly. All right? We don't do that. We haven't in a long time. That's not what's going to happen. They're just listening
again,
to the conversation.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right.
Again, thank you for that.
So my question goes back to, what is it about Rebecca that made you think she'd be a good friend? Knowing not the stuff that's been put out today. Obviously, you didn't know that. You still knew something was going on, sir, but you didn't know that. All right, I've granted you that. So, but what is it about Rebecca that you looked at and thought that's going to be a good friend?
I guess it's her approach on how she talks to me. We have similar interests and stuff. We're into animation, obviously, but we're also let's see what I don't know if I should bring this up, but we're both on the autism spectrum, and just connecting with a person like Rebecca, it kind of it makes me relate to someone.
Okay.
But that was when I first met her, but compared to now,
well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to people on the spectrum, you're literally sitting in a server full of those types of people. All right. So being on the spectrum in and of itself should not inherently be a reason why you connect with somebody. Talking about animation, you can find a lot of decent people who talk about animation. I'll give you an example. I don't know Enter on a personal level, and I'll disagree with some of his cartoon takes, and I have before, and I've voiced that. You can disagree with somebody's takes on media and still agree that they're a decent person. What Enter did today highlights to me his character, regardless of what I think of his cartoon opinions, and regardless of what he thinks of mine. Although I'm sure he's never watched anything I put out, because the man probably has at least some semblance of sense. Now, you're on the internet. You're surrounded by cartoon people. You could have found anybody to be friends with. Now,
go on.
I could sit here and I could criticize you further on that, but my point is something I want you to keep going forward. I'll give you an example. I am friends with Susie Doodletones. If Susie's nice to me, that's cool. But if I see Susie being cruel to other people or pathologically lying about them, and I know it, because you know that Rebecca's a liar, and I know it,
yes,
then that doesn't communicate to me that Susie's a decent person. That just communicates to me that Susie's nice to me because she probably thinks she's going to get something out of me. And you need to be aware of when people are like that, because when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Rebecca has shown you multiple times who they are. So, we're going to now go into something else here, because I want you to try to learn from this specifically. All right?
All right.
Number one, when you saw sus stuff in the server, you should have told somebody. Anybody.
Correct.
Anybody
Correct.
who would have helped. Now, I have here part of your reasoning for why you didn't, so we're going to go over that, okay? You said in the group chat, because this was sent to me, you still feel awful for how you talked about Enter behind Enter's back after you left, which, if you want to extend an apology to Enter, that's between you two. I'm also really scared right now. Rebecca knows where I live. I'm afraid she could potentially go after myself and my family if I directly cut ties with her, so I want to go ahead and address this, okay? You know enough about me to know that I deal with lunatics all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My address is out there. I've literally rattled it off to some of these lunatics in call. The worst I've ever gotten is somebody trying to send pizzas to me, which have questionable toppings on them. Rebecca, by her nature, is a coward. Rebecca's not going to send anything to you. She's not going to try to attack you. The worst she'll try to do is a really bad video that people are just going to laugh at her about. Rebecca is in no way, shape, or form a cognizant threat to you or your family.
May I add something?
Go ahead.
A few years ago, me and Rebecca did actually have a falling out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't exactly remember. I think it was because we just haven't talked to each other. And I remember that I don't know if it was a video or a live stream, either way, she labeled me as an abuser. That's all I remember being upset about that because I just haven't talked to her in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And to see her call me that, that was first of all, that should have been one of my first red flags to begin with, but that's aside the point. But yeah, that was like, I don't know when was that? Like around 2020, 2021 was when that happened.
Okay, so is your concern that Rebecca would talk out loud and make claims of you being an abuser and it would affect you?
Considering how I used to act it like back then, I would probably really act in the worst possible way.
Okay. Crimson, do you have friends other than Rebecca?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Here's what you need to do. You need to take a close look at all the other friends. Make sure they don't have similar patterns of behavior to Rebecca, and if they do, you need to cut them off too. The fact that this went on for a year is unacceptable. Just straight up. I understand why you were scared. Alright? I know you're on the spectrum, and I'm not saying that to be derogatory. It's me acknowledging something. And that as such, sometimes things like this can freak you out, especially when you're dealing with somebody as much of a pathological liar as Rebecca. But that should have communicated to you that they weren't somebody to keep as a friend anyways. Because in order to be a friend, you must also be a friend yourself. And Rebecca is not a friend of anybody. Rebecca uses people. And you know that. You've seen her do that. So, going forward... Go ahead.
Yeah. I do feel used, after all the years I been with her.
Mm-hmm. The point is, recognize the patterns and make distance from people like that. That's something that you're going to have to work on. Now, thankfully, I haven't gotten any word that you knew about other things Rebecca's done, and your response to that's pretty obvious that you probably didn't. So that's good. I just want you to reflect, give apologies where needed, and going forward, make friends with decent people. Okay? And you can
Okay.
You can always tell the true nature of an individual by how they treat those that have no power to defend themselves. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, so far that's been handled. All right? We're going to move into a previous topic between you and I now that I told you we'd talk about, okay?
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. So my first question is, why have you been running from me for so long?
It's how you approach the things. No, I wouldn't say I had attempts trying to get in contact because that would be like,
That'd be a lie.
yeah, that would be a lie.
Because I'm also not foolish.
Right.
Hold on. Because even trying to get you in here, you were constantly trying to get Phineas to not have the call in here. And I know that because Phineas kept asking about it. Now, Phineas is polite enough not to tell me that Crimson's scared of coming in here. But it's pretty obvious by your reaction. So, let me go ahead and let me lay the ground rule here, okay?
Okay.
What you did, both in the group chat from years ago and on Twitter, that's going to upset people. As far as my approach to things, yes, I was not going to be happy. You lied to thousands of people and ran around doing extremely foolish things because you didn't like a YouTuber. And this is before anybody found out about the utter nonsense that Miss Anthropony was up to. So you can't even use that as a backing board. So we're going to go ahead and address that, and we're going to do it civilly, and we're going to do it constructively. Okay?
Fair.
So, was the reason why you were scared to talk to me because you do not take it well when somebody is stern with you. Is that it?
Stern is yes, but it's I'm trying to find the term that I talked to one of my friends about how you approach it.
On how I approach what?
How you approach not the situation, but like how you approach me on Twitter, regarding the Toon Critic server and how I left. And I'm not gonna bullshit. That was really shitty of me because I do need. There's some things fuck.
I'll just walk through it, okay? Number one, why didn't you participate? Because you were in that server for a while. What made you decide not to?
I was not on good terms with Zaid.
Okay, but what does Zaid have to do with reporting Toon Critic?
Okay, and the other thing was I guess I was in a new situation that I was unfamiliar with. This, like, I never in my life had to report a police report, especially something outside of my state. I'm in Pennsylvania, and this was in like what, Chicago, Ohio.
That's why we broke it down and we gave people step-by-step instructions. If the issue was you have heavy anxiety or you needed somebody with you,
I could have talked. I could have talked to someone.
You could have, because we reached out to you multiple times to find out what was going on, and you just ghosted us.
Yeah.
You just ghosted us. So that's why.
I would like to add.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
This does not excuse for what I did, but I thought I should let this out. My mother was in the hospital. She had cancer at the time, and it was like a very hard period of my life. So, going through that and having while I was in that server and all this going on, all that together was just too much for me. And it doesn't excuse for what I did, but at the time, it was like, what, 2019, 2020, or late 2019, early 2020.
Late 2019. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I understand with that context that you were overwhelmed. All right?
Correct.
Speaking as somebody who struggles with boundaries and telling people no and communicating when I'm overwhelmed, I get it. All right? But you got to do better about communicating that. If you had just told Patch or I, hey, I'm really overwhelmed, I've got a lot of stuff going on right now, we 100% would have understood. We would have taken you out the project. It wouldn't have been a thing. The problem is that you ghosted us.
Yes.
And then,
yes, I ghosted out.
That's part of it. The other part is how you've acted in other situations. So,
the Twitter stuff.
and we're about to get into that. But before we do, I want you to take a minute and just breathe. All right? Like I said, I'm not going to yell and scream at you. You're not going to get like jumped. You're not going to get dogpiled. Nobody's going to like throw your address around, anything like that. I'm just talking to you, okay? So take a minute and breathe. It's fine. We got time.
Right.
And if you hear that background noise, that's just Gidget trying to get in. She's a bit of a curmudgeon about that. She's one of my cats.
Oh, that's cool.
You have any pets?
I do feel bad about the whole thing. How I reacted. Do you remember that tweet I put out saying like okay, I admit it, like I admit everything, that what I did was wrong. I could have done that better. For one, it should have not been in the replies. I should have like made a statement about that.
Well, it's more than that, Crimson. But first, I want you to take a minute, and I want you to just relax. We'll move on in a second, but you need to gather yourself, okay? It's going to be all right.
All right.
Do you have any pets?
Yes. Her name is Zoe. Her name's Zoe.
What is Zoe?
She is, her, it's hard to pronounce. She is a, Coton dealer. They originated from Madagascar.
Oh, is she a primate? Or a
know about that. No, she's just been the family pet for like, she's like 11. No, not 11, 12.
I've never even
12.
heard of an animal like that. 12 years? Goodness.
Yeah, Coton dealer. It's the Coton dealer is a cotton it's a cotton ball dog from Madagascar.
Oh, it's a dog. Okay. Oh my goodness, it looks like a cotton ball.
Yes, I have many of them.
Oh, okay. Is that one your favorite?
No. I only have one dog.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She's been like my stress reliever for the past years.
That's good. All right. You feel a little less stressed now?
A little, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, let's continue. All right. The reason I got on to you about what happened in that server is because of, and again, this was before even people found out that he was harassing Cartoonchi. You got upset
because he said stuff about Star Wars.
All right. Now, this is where I have to address you, because you should know by now that Misanthropony and I do not talk. All right, I kicked him out of my circles, out of my servers, because of the actions he was doing later on. I gave him chances. I tried to help him. So
I heard about that. I'm not totally in the know about regarding
you don't
him and.
You don't have
okay.
to. We're not getting into the weeds there. I'm just giving you some background. So, the problem here
Correct.
is he had an opinion about Star Wars. You didn't like it, so I'm gonna have to tell you the exact same thing I told him. Everybody here has attachment to media one way or another. That's why Intro does what he does. That's why I do what I do. It's why a lot of people here do what they do in terms of art, expression, whatever. All right? The problem with a lot of people online nowadays is they replace their values or their sense of self with what they are attached to. And if you get to the point to where you see somebody having a negative opinion about Star Wars, that it makes you that unquestionably angry to you're willing to lie about them and even push for their deplatforming, that's too far. The problem is you took that and you ran with it, and you knew you had a bigger platform. Because I saw you in other people's comments, I saw you talking about it there, you know, Crimson Mayhem was here and all that. You can't do that.
Right.
And you shouldn't do that. That's why I was angry at you, because you lied about what he did, because he never threatened anybody over Star Wars. All right? Later on, we found out he threatened people in other ways, but it wasn't about Star Wars. All right?
Correct. Yeah.
So why?
And I apologize for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
After you had your face rubbed in it. While the
Yes.
apology, to an extent, can be understandable and appreciated, again, it wasn't directed towards me, so I can't speak on whether it was accepted. The problem was doing it to begin with. Because if you have a platform, you have a responsibility to not intentionally try to deceive anybody, but that's what you did there. And I have to put this to you the exact same way I did to Zayd and Misanthropony when I dragged him in the first heavy call we had. Crimson, Lucas is going to go to his grave not knowing or caring who you are. You're not going to cross his mind. You're not going to be at his funeral. None of that. All right? Having an attachment to something is fine, but an unbalanced one, an unequally yoked one, is extremely unhealthy. There's a lot of people with negative opinions about 80s cartoons. Will I argue with them? Yeah. But I'm not going to go to the direction that you and some other people do, and that's a major problem in the cartoon community. I know Inter's experienced that too, right? He's gotten legitimately harassed for really stupid crap. Not talking about just, hey, he had a bad take and here's my thoughts, like legitimately harassing a man over something real dumb.
Oh, I'm aware of the stuff he unfortunately got into.
Then you need to start thinking three-dimensionally and start extrapolating stuff like that into your life. So, if you've gotten to the point where somebody's opinion on media makes you so fervently mad that you're willing to lie about them and try to deplatform them, because that's what these people were talking about doing. Well, Misanthropony's mean about Star Wars, we need to get him off platforms. That's not rational behavior, and that's not okay. That's not how you treat people, even if they have a bad opinion about something you like. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, obviously, you can't do anything about that concerning Misanthropony. He's gone, right? And I don't even think you have a Twitter account anymore, do you?
Last time I heard about him, he deleted his channel. But I heard all of his.
I'm asking about you. You don't even have a Twitter account anymore, do you?
Oh no, I actually left since September.
That's probably good. What you need to do, Crimson, is you need to find decent people to interact with and talk with and socialize with, because that's human beings. We're social creatures by nature, as much as I try not to be in some cases. We're social creatures by nature. We need that interaction, just like dogs do, just like other pack animals do. It's essentially what we are. But you have to make sure the people you're around have solid morals that they base their life on, to where they don't go to extremes over really petty, stupid, silly things. Okay? And you also have to try to make sure you have a decent balance between your online life and your offline life. Like, I do know that you're really big on cartoons, and that's fine. However, you have to apply some of the logic that even people like Miyazaki have spoken about. His concept is he doesn't like modern anime because it's filled with otaku. What does he mean by otaku? People who don't base things on life, they base things on other media they've consumed. You have to have a balance, all right? So that's what I want you to focus on. Now, I will consult with the moderation staff here. And we can even, as far as the rest of the server here, if they want to, they can take a vote. If you guys think Crimson Mayhem would be okay to be in here, you can hit 1, and if you don't, you can hit 2, and we can tally that if we need to. If you're allowed to stay, you're welcome to make friends here. However, I do think, again, you owe Enter an apology, not right here in front of us. That's private, and that needs to remain private. Okay?
Right.
Because if it's true, then it needs to come from you to him, not blasted out here like spectacle. Okay?
Right.
All right. So, Going forward, real quick, and I want to make sure I get your age right. How old are you?
26.
Okay, you're 26. That's what I thought you were. You're 26 years old. I know you're on the spectrum. However, you are old enough to recognize basic behavioral patterns, and you are old enough to recognize right and wrong. That much is obvious. So, what I am going to do here is I'm going to make this very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Do not get involved with stuff like that again. If you have a friend that's being problematic to the extent that Rebecca is, or even close to it, you need to cut them and you need to leave. And when somebody has a problem with you, don't run from them for 2 years, man. This could have been sorted the day I talked to you about that.
Can you repeat that again?
So when somebody has... Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
When someone has a problem with you, don't run from them for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because this could have been solved a long time ago.
It could have been.
So let me go ahead let me go ahead and lay this out for you, okay? Because hindsight's 20/20 in all situations, including my own life. All right. So if you and I had a conversation 2 years ago, and you understood where I was coming from, and I understood why you bailed on the Toon Critic stuff, what could have happened then is you and I could have been in direct communication. Meaning, when you saw Rebecca doing stupid crap, you could have brought it to me then. I could have had a conversation with you. You could have cut her off back then, and it wouldn't be a problem now. Do you understand what I'm getting at there?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep that in mind. Part of being an adult is working through the problems other people have with us, so long as it's in good faith and so long as it's for a justifiable reason. If somebody's mad at you for something real stupid, you don't have to give them the time of day. You don't have to do it with every single person. There's people screaming at me on Twitter right now that I couldn't care less about. I will go to my grave not caring who they are or what they're up to. Instead, I'm just
Life's too short.
Not just that it's too short, it's that you don't owe everyone your attention. And at the end of the night, I'm going to crawl in bed with my wife and sleep and forget they exist eventually. So, as far as the Toon Critic stuff goes, now that I have full context of what was going on, I'm okay. I just wish you would have talked, which is part of the communication thing. You gotta learn to talk to people when you're overwhelmed. All right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to let people know. Because if they don't know, then it causes more issues. You see?
Right. I understand.
Right. Okay. Enter, do you have anything you want to say to him? Do I need to bring you up here? Does anybody who has anything important and topical they want to say anything in the chat? Okay. Thank you, Cal, for calling me gay. I appreciate it.
Oh my gosh.
Welcome to Senate. This is how we run. All right. So with that being said, Webb, I don't even know who you are. Wait. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and end the call. Thank you for finally coming in and having a talk with me, Crimson, and I'll catch you guys later.
All right. Thank you.
It ended amicably, and he stayed in the server for a few days until his account got hacked. Maybe he'll join the new server, if he wants to. I figured longtime listeners may have wanted to hear how a conversation with him actually shook out. For the model kit, it was fun to build, though it has a loose joint in their right hip. Link to it is in the pinned comment if you want to buy one yourself. I'll see you all next time. Take care.